I feel like I was surviving when I was in high school. Like every day was like survival mode. But yeah, it was just people picking on me because I just knew exactly who I was and like what I wanted to do. And like all of the fighting really like took me back on what did I need to do like in school. So I had like no credits because every day I was worried about who am I going to fight today? What's the drama going to be today? And like a lot of that transitioned to like online bullying, and it was like it never stopped. Like when I was at school it was bullying, and then when I was at home online it was there too.
Welcome to the Elevated Hope Project, a podcast dedicated to celebrating stories of resilience, transformation, and second chances. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Elevated Education, an organization that serves at-risk students through innovative schools like East Point High School, Elevated Academy, and Accelerated Learning Center. At Elevated Education, we believe in the power of education to change lives and create hope where it's needed most. Today, we're honored to share the incredible journey of Jazmine. As a graduate of one of our Tucson schools, Jazmine's story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the impact of supportive community. Let's dive in. Hi, Jazmine.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So for today, we're going to really just kind of go through your life story and how we were part of your success and getting your feet under you and moving forward in life as part of supporting you in your education. And that will probably all be part of your life story. So we're really looking forward to diving into that. There's two traditions that we're trying to establish here on our podcast. The first one is giving each of our guests a gift. So we have a couple things for you here today. First thing is our brand new t-shirts that we did that I think are pretty cool. But so
Oh, wow. Never quit. I love that.
yeah, so never quit on the back of it. I have lots of different sizes, so if this isn't, we'll swap it out.
Alrighty.
And the other thing here is one of our favorite books called Extreme Ownership by Jocko. Just such a good book that translates to every area of life. So I want to give these to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. The second tradition is we like to ask each guest before we start, what's something that you're grateful for right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think right now probably the opportunity that I've been given in my life, because I know I'm not opportunities that I have, not everybody gets. So I think all of the opportunities that I've been given.
Okay, cool. Hopefully we'll get to hear more about those opportunities that you're, those doors that you're walking through. So, all right. So let's start with your life story, and we'll just kind of ask questions as we go. Just having a conversation about who Jazmine is and what has formed you and shaped you so far in your life. So take us back to as early as you want to, that you think is important for your story.
Okay. Well, I'm Mexican American. I come from a Mexican American household. I'm from Tucson. I grew up with two brothers, an older brother, a younger brother, and thankfully I had both parents in my household. Um, Growing up in Tucson, I grew up like in a smaller town, obviously, so I didn't really know what like the city was or anything like that, so I was a little bit more closed off to everything. Um, in my school life, when I was younger, I was always wanting to be the center of attention in the middle, always wanting to be in the mix. And then once I got into middle school, things kind of shifted for me. I was able to really see how kids can be with one another, which I dealt with a lot of bullying, a lot of picked on. I grew up in the east side of Tucson, which was like a very diverse area. So I grew up with a lot of like Mexicans, white kids, black kids, Asian kids, everything. So I've seen everything, met everyone before. And the school that I went to was more of a low income school. I went to a school called Carson Middle School. And with that school, there was a lot of troubled kids in that school. So I wasn't really sheltered or anything. I knew I had a good grasp of what is real life and what is going on in life. My parents were always very like honest with me with everything that's going on in life. So, I wasn't really scared of anything, but going to that school, I learned a lot about myself. I early on had a lot of girl drama. I had got into like my first fight at that school, and it was like a big thing. But I had an older brother that would always guide me and tell me like girls are gonna pick on you, and girls are gonna, want to be mean to you because you're pretty and you know exactly who you are. And I never understood any of that until I had to like get into my first fight. So I think when my first fight happened, dealt with a lot of girl drama in school, a lot of girl drama. So after that school, I went to another school because our school got shut down because it didn't have enough funding. And then I went into high school, and after high school, that was a whole other thing. High school was really bad for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say high school was bad for you, in what way? Just a continuation of the relational issues you were having, or
Well, when I was in high school, I always liked social media. I wanted to do modeling, I wanted to do YouTube, I wanted to do all of that. So early on, I was on Facebook and I would just like post my life, post pictures of myself. I'm very into like fashion, beauty, all of that. And I got picked on that a lot because my Facebook started like growing in numbers and I had a lot of people looking at me. And so coming from a small town, I don't think anybody understood what I was trying to do or like what was happening. So I would get picked on a lot. People would be like, who does she think she is? She thinks she's gonna make it somewhere. Like I got a lot of like not support in the beginning. So when I was going to school, a lot of girls would pick on me because of those things. And um it was just like it was always like a topic of discussion with me just because I did put my life out there a lot. And so I would have girls pick on me all the time. Like girls, I remember asking a girl one time why she had a problem with me and she had no answer. And it was just always getting picked on. So I was in several fights when I was in high school because I always say that I feel like I was surviving when I was in high school. Like every day was like survival mode. Um, but yeah, it was just people picking on me because I just knew exactly who I was and like what I wanted to do, and like all of the fighting really like took me back on what did I need to do like in school. So I had like no credits because every day I was worried about who am I going to fight today? What's the drama going to be today? And like a lot of that transitioned to like online bullying, and it was like it never stopped. Like when I was at school, it was bullying, and then when I was at home online, it was there too. So it was just rough. It was just a lot of girl drama, and I ended up going to a lot of different schools. I think overall I went to 6 different schools. The first school I went to, I stopped going there because it was just bad, fighting every day. My mom had to work as a lunch lady just to watch me to make sure that I was gonna be okay, that these girls weren't gonna like jump me. And then after that school, I ended up leaving. I went to another school. I got kicked out because I got into a fight, and there's like no fighting there. And then after that, I went to another school. I only went there for a little bit. And like at that point, I was just kind of done with my life. I like didn't care if I graduated. I didn't even want to graduate. And then all at the same time when this was happening, I had an older brother. Well, I have an older brother, and I was really close with him. I wanted to be exactly like him. Like if he wanted to skateboard, I wanted to skateboard. If he sagged his pants, I wanted to sag my pants. And I'm a girl. Like anything he did, I thought was so cool. And then my brother just kind of got into the wrong crowd, and he was in and out of prison and jail, and now he's addicted to heroin. And so after like all of that, I was like, I don't want to be anything like my brother. So at that point, I was dealing with like all of this, the disappointment of my brother, and then just going to like all these schools, like just wasn't helping. So that's kind of just what I was dealing with in high school.
yeah, that's a lot
And yeah,
to um go through that much change in a relatively short period of time.
yeah,
And I assume that as you're kind of hopping from school to school to school, um, you were falling further and further behind. Is it
yeah.
okay?
And it was, like, embarrassing, like, also too, I struggle with dyslexia, so that didn't help, and then I never felt like the smartest girl. Like, I always felt like, "Oh, I'm the pretty popular girl, but I'm not the smartest girl," and I wanted to be the smart girl who, like, had her life together, had good grades, and I just didn't have that, and then just with all the drama, it didn't help.
Yeah.
So, about how much of your high school career, like how many years did that go on where you really were just kind of in this cycle of not progressing academically and all the social challenges you were having?
I feel like well, obviously it started like in middle school up until like my junior year when I got to East Point. Like that's when it all kind of stopped. It was always kind of there, but I never fit into it after that. Yeah. And I feel like when I was going through all of that, I'm a short person. I'm 4'11", so I feel like I always had to like prove myself. I always had to prove myself and like prove that I'm not scared or anything like that. So I feel like I was just dealing with that for a long time, with just like proving myself instead of just like letting things go.
Yeah. So East Point was your junior year of high school.
Yeah, I think it was my junior year.
What led you to actually transferring to the East Point High School?
So it's so funny because I went to a school that was across the street from me, which is a school called Santa Rita. And at that point, I would wake up really late. My mom would wake me up, like go to school, and then she would go to work. Like, I'm getting ready. And I wouldn't go to school until lunchtime. And then I would go for lunch. I would hop the fence, leave, come back home because I lived across the street. So after that, my mom was done with me. I was done with myself. We were all just done. And so then I remember I went to go get my nails done. I went to go get my nails done, and I was talking to the lady doing my nails. And I was just talking to her about like school and, life, everything that's going on. And I remember there was a girl next to me and she was getting her nails done too. And she like overheard and she's like, I don't mean to be nosy, but like I used to go to the school. It's called East Point. And she's like, it was a really good school. They're like very flexible with like hours. And it changed my life. Like you should like look into like everything that you're saying would seem like it's a good fit for you. So then I talked to her about it, and then I went home and I told my mom. I was like, Mom, because at this point I had hit every school on my side of town. So they didn't know
Got it left.
yeah, they didn't know where to put me. So then I told my mom, I was like, this girl told me about this school called East Point. And so then my mom enrolled me. So then after that I went to East Point.
Okay. Do you think it made a difference that it was your choice at that point, that you had kind of initiated the selection of the school?
Yes, because I mean, I'll be honest, the only thing that intrigued me from East Point in the beginning was like the hours. That I was like, oh my God, I only get to go to school for this amount of hours. And then after that, I can have the whole day. I can do my social media thing and I can do whatever I want. So yeah, I felt like, and my mom, like, I mean, every school that I went to, I was able to like pick.
Mhm.
But this was just different because I feel like I was in a different point in my life. Like I was tired, like I was tired of everything that was going on in my life. I was ready to just go to school and like that was it.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty amazing that that girl was sitting next to you.
I know.
Old enough to share that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
So
we
to
need
track her down. Do
yeah, we need to recruit at the nail salons.
Yeah.
you remember anything about her? Good fight.
So, oh, and I always think about it too. I always think like, God, like shout out to that girl because
Yeah.
I would have never went there. I don't know where I would have went. I don't even know if I would have continued in like going to school and like even graduate because at that point I was just over it.
Yeah. That's wild.
So social media is still a big part of your life and like
Yes, social media is my full-time job.
okay. So when you were in middle school and you were getting bullied at school online, obviously there was something that was encouraging you to keep doing it. So you're still doing it. Was there a person in your life that was doing that? Was that your brother at that point?
No, I think I just honestly hit like the attention. It was different, I feel like I just seemed seen and like I was able to build like this community. And overall, I just really enjoy like social media, like making content. Like I love doing videos, pictures. But in the beginning, I always tell people that my older brother was like the original influencer because he would like take pictures of himself. He would have me take pictures of him and he would post them on MySpace. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I think like a part of me did kind of like take that from him. But yeah, I just always love social media and like the opportunity to like reach out to people in different areas and different places. I just thought that was so cool, especially because I wasn't getting like love and support from my hometown. And it was like I was getting love and support from people from like Vegas, LA, like all these different places that I've never even been before. So I think that was cool.
So tell us about your time at East Point. And did you continue your social media career while you were there?
Yeah, so my time at East Point, I was still doing social media and it was like a little bit easier for me to do it there. But at this point I was like really focused on graduating. But my time at East Point was like a little bit of a roller coaster. But this school, have you guys ever seen the movie Freedom Writers? No?
No, I don't think so.
So it's a movie that came out a long time ago, but it's a movie about a teacher and she comes to this school, and this school is like a low funded school and a bunch of troubled kids. Like there's kids that are in gangs, there's pregnant girls, there's all these things. And I felt like this movie was like I feel like I've lived it. Because this teacher, she comes in and she changes these students' lives. Like she helps them get into colleges, careers, everything. So I feel like I've lived the whole Freedom Rider movie experience. But I remember when the first day that I ever came into East Point, there was a teacher, his name was Mr. Lloyd. He's very tall, bald-headed black man, and you can't miss him when he's in the room. And every morning he would tell me, "Good morning, Jasmine. Good morning, Jasmine." And at this point, I'm a young teenage girl. I just don't want to hear it from anybody. I'm just over it. I'm just here to like be in school. And I spent a lot of time with Lloyd because I was behind on credits, and he was I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a room with all the computers. Like you build your credits to the computers, and that's how you work. So I had to spend a lot of time with him. And I remember one time he told me good morning, and I was like being really mean to him. I don't remember what I told him, but he called my mom and he was like, "Jasmine is so mean to me. She doesn't tell me good morning back. Like, what can I do to like, to try to like bring her in?" And my mom that day when I got home from school, she was like, "Stop being mean to that man. Like, he is just trying to like be nice to you and get to know you." So I remember the next day, I said good morning to him. And I kind of just like built a relationship with him like after that. But I remember he told me about his life and everything he's been through and everything that he's accomplished. And I told him about my life. So it was like a fair trade, like tell me your trauma, I'll tell you mine. And so, yeah, so I think after that, like I never really had a teacher who cared so much about me and like wanted me to do good and like succeed. Like he just wanted me to graduate high school and that was it. He always like, "Jazz, you can do your social media thing, but just graduate. Like that's literally all you have to do. Like just come in here, spend the extra time here after school and graduate." And so for me, like I was like, wow, like somebody really does care about me enough to want to see me succeed and just graduate. So after that, I just built a relationship with Mr. Lloyd, and he's literally the reason why I graduated high school.
Yeah. So when you transferred into East Point, do you remember how many credits you had at that?
Probably like little to none.
Yeah.
Maybe like, and I was a junior. So I want to say maybe like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
Basically a little more than half of like your freshman year.
Yeah, and I was taking like freshman classes. It was bad. It was so bad. And I was thinking like, I don't even know why I'm trying. I'm not going to graduate. Like there's like no hope here.
Hmm.
So yeah.
But when did the switch flip? When you thought you went from, I know I'm not going to graduate. Why am I even trying to? I actually think this is going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like every day when I would come in, like Lloyd would ask me like, "How's your progress going?" Oh my God, or he'll be like, "You earned another credit." Like he was so excited about it more than I was. And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Like he's like, "You earned 3 credits like within this month." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. Like maybe I can do this." And I feel like at that point, I was talking to Lloyd about my life, and he was saying, like, just because of the life that you've lived doesn't mean that it has to be for the rest of your life? So, too, I was like, I come from like in a Mexican American household, and I was thinking, like, if I graduate, like, I'll be the first one to graduate. Like, that'll be so cool. Like, I will be able to brag about it to my family for the rest of my life. And I think, like, I didn't want to be like another statistic, like I didn't want to just be another number. So I was like, I'm just gonna graduate. And I'm like, if I graduate, like that's such a boss move. Like yes, it's just like a high school diploma, but like I'll be able to say, like, yeah, I graduated. Like nobody can ever look at me and be like, well, she didn't graduate?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that I just had my high school diploma at least.
So did they all come to your graduation? The whole crew?
Unfortunately, Mr. Lloyd wasn't able to come because I think it was like the East Point graduation date, and my date was like on the same day or something like that. But Lloyd was there for me for everything, like my prom. So unfortunately for me, I didn't want to graduate at East Point, but everybody was super understanding of that. I wanted to be able to go to prom. I wanted to go to a football game. I wanted like those high school experiences, like from a big high school that I wasn't able to get. And it was like very sad for Mr. Lloyd because he wanted me to graduate from there. but I also had all of his support in it. When I was having trouble getting into the school that I wanted to get into, he vouched for me that I was a good student and that, my past record of everything that's happened, like I'm not the same person anymore. So he was there for me for everything. So like prom, he was there for my prom. And then when I was at East Point, I can't remember if I was at East Point or at the other school already. My dad had a stroke. And I remember feeling like, because I'm very close to my dad, I'm a daddy's girl. So I remember feeling like I don't even know like what's gonna happen. It was just a bunch of unquestioned things that were gonna happen, because it was pretty bad. And I remember I came out of the hospital room and I seen Lloyd and he had like sandwiches and cookies for me and my family. So he has like always been there and always supported my decision. So yeah.
Okay. But it was a big celebration when you graduated.
It was.
With your family, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yes, with my family. It was a big deal. There was a lot of tears shed, a lot of pictures. I like couldn't believe that I did it. Like I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did it. I may have not been the highest top of my class, but I did it. Like for me, it was like, I don't care to be the top. Like,
Yeah.
so I was like, as long as I did it, and it felt really good. And I got a car after that. And so it just felt good to like graduate because I kept telling myself, like, this is all I have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. What a proud moment. Congratulations. I know it was years ago, but I can kind of feel like in the story how that must have felt for you.
Yeah.
So I can't remember at what point you said that the transition kind of happened, but your older brother was your role model, sounds like, for a long time. You even said if he sagged his pants, you sagged yours. So
I mean, no, it doesn't look like that type of present, but yes.
So, obviously he started taking another path that maybe you didn't want to follow.
Yeah.
Who stepped in as that next role model? And then who were kind of the role models as you progressed through graduating high school?
I feel like I really didn't have any role models other than him in a weird way. Because he was my role model for like in the beginning when he was like great. And I feel like my role model was still him even after when he was bad. Because after that, I was like, I knew I didn't want to be anything like that. So I feel like anytime I was around the wrong crowd or anytime I would see anything, I would just, and it sounds really messed up, but I'd be like, I don't want to be like that. Because for me, I just never understood it. Because we have two loving, great parents. We might have not had all the money in the world, but like I just feel like at the end of the day, family is everything. That's all you really need. So I just always told myself, like, I don't want to be in prison. I don't want to be in jail. All of this fighting stuff is not cute. It's not going to get me anywhere. So I think for me, I always told myself, like, I want to be better than that. And I need to be better than that because my parents were already going through so much with him, like so much. My brother was like doing a lot of like drugs, stealing around the wrong crowd. It was just always something with him. And I feel like I wanted to give my parents a little bit of more like opportunity to breathe when it came to me. And I still had a younger brother that I wanted him to see like, you don't be like that. Just because I feel like when you have brothers, you don't want to be like your sister. You want to be like your brother. But for me, with my little brother, I feel like I still had a lot of work to do with my little brother, that how I wanted to mold him and how I wanted the direction for him to go. So I felt like I did a really good job with my little brother too. He's very successful in his life as well right now. So yeah, I feel like in a way my older brother was always the role model even when he was bad, because I just knew that's a life that I wanted to cut off, and like I didn't want us to be like that.
Well, that's pretty amazing. You took that on your own shoulders and decided that you wanted to be the role model.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
thank you.
I'm sure you have been to your younger brother. I can imagine that he's looked at all the things that you've been able to conquer.
He probably won't admit that, but yes.
Yeah, we're deep inside,
That's true. Yeah, my little brother's doing great. I mean, he moved out here too once a little bit after I moved out here. My little brother's 22. He lives with his girlfriend. He has a clothing brand. He's self-employed like me. He makes his own money. He has his dog. Yeah, he's doing great. He graduated high school. Very good. Way better than me, way smarter than me, but yeah, he did everything. He's great. He actually helped me in high school. When I went to the high school, so when I left East Point and I went to the high school that had like the prom and everything, I was actually taking like sophomore classes with him because I was like behind in the math category because I have dyslexia. So I was taking classes with him, and my little brother helped me too with like all the math stuff. And it was embarrassing to be in a class with your little brother because like all of his friends would be like, dude, your sister's so hard. And they'd be like, dude, my sister's in the same class as us. Like, that's so embarrassing. So
He was willing to help you.
yeah, he was willing to help me, and he's helped me so much along the way too.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I have a question that might go a little bit a different direction. Obviously, our programs, we want our students to academically progress and succeed and earn their diplomas, but we also want them to grow as people, as humans. So, when you look back at your time when you were with us, what are some of the ways that you think you grew as a human personally?
I feel like from East Point and on, I learned to not let things bother me. Because I feel like when I went there, I was a very angry person. I was very angry, and I feel like I learned a lot of patience within myself. I learned how to like channel that anger in different ways. So I feel like that helped me a lot. I feel like letting people into my life and being very vulnerable helped. I feel like I never really learned how to be very vulnerable and just speak about my feelings and communicate. So I feel like that helped me a lot. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, those are like forever life skills.
Yeah, I've taken them on in my work life, my personal life, relationships, family, all of that.
Yeah, very good. I can't tell when in this story we should skip to what's like what you're doing now because don't want to miss some of like the pivotal moments, right,
Uh-huh.
in your life. But we do want to know what are you doing now? Like what has happened in the last couple years? But before we do that, have we skipped anything big?
Mm, no, Mr. Lloyd, hiding, runner. No.
Okay, so yeah, tell us what's happening now for you.
So well, after I graduated, I did hit a little bit of a bump in my life. I was doing great after I graduated. But then once I got into the real world, I had lost a lot of people, like friends and stuff, in very not natural causing ways, I guess. So I lost a lot of people. I had never dealt with death before. So I did go through like a little bit of a road of like drinking and partying and kind of like trying to suppress all those emotions in ways I shouldn't have. Um, so then for me after that, I was able to find the gym, I guess. I feel like that's another thing that helped me. So I started working out, and that helped me mentally and physically. So then after I started losing weight and doing all that, I was able to get back on the right track and then really work on my social media thing. So, but after high school, I got into social media way more than what I was doing before. I started seeing that I could make money from social media, which I knew that was always a thing, but once I started navigating it and really knowing how contracts work, brand deals, all of that, I was like, oh my God, like I could create a life for myself and my family with this. So I started learning everything about social media, contracts, brand deals, um, pictures, videos, cameras, lighting, literally everything. And so I learned this all by myself, but thankfully I had like friends and family who would help me take my pictures and stuff. And then, yeah, everything skyrocketed. Like it was big when I was younger in high school and middle school. But after that, once I was able to really dedicate like all of the time into it, it was very rewarding. So, I was able, so this year, well, sorry, not this year. Last year, I was able to go to New York Fashion Week on a brand trip. They paid for everything. I was paid to be there. I was paid to go to New York, and it was like the coolest thing. I've got 2 contracts, with a brand called Fashion Nova, and they're my biggest contracts I've ever had. I've been able to go to LA, do modeling. I was able to move out here to Phoenix into the city and like create a life out here. I'm a brand ambassador for the Suns basketball team, so I go to all of their events, all of their games. I have a lot of Suns merch. So I've been able to do a lot of things that I wasn't able to do in Tucson that I was like, able to do here. So yeah.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. One of the things that we'll hear every now and then from um, kids who are kind of in your situation, bouncing schools, way behind, or like, you know what, I'm just gonna drop out and be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
what would you say to them?
Um, well, I was that kid, so I understand how that feels of being like, I can just make money on YouTube and do this, and that. But it doesn't feel the same when you can say that you've come from your struggle and you at least graduated and then you get to build like this empire of whatever it may be. But I would say all you have to do is graduate. All you have to do is graduate. And social media is a thing that you can do while you're still even in school. It's there 24/7. That I would say just graduate, do what you have to do, and don't just be another number. Just make sure you graduate because it feels good, like to have that cap and gown on and have your diploma. Like I have my diploma in my kitchen. So it feels good. I feel like it's very important because YouTube is always going to be there. Instagram is always going to be there. TikTok will always be there. So I think getting your diploma is like you only have a certain amount of time to have that opportunity. And although I think a GED is cool and everything, but like having your diploma and doing it in high school feels a lot better than having a GED.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that we talk about often is, once you have that high school diploma, you have choices for the rest of your life that you wouldn't otherwise have, whether it's to go to college, vocational school, some jobs require that you have a high school diploma before they'll hire you. Military, like all those things, those are now choices that someone has that by just dropping out, they don't have it.
Yeah, and social media isn't forever. So you want to make sure that you have something under your belt to secure you. Because I know that I've been doing social media up until I was 13 and I'm 25 now. I'll be 26 next month. So it's been a long time, but definitely in social media, there's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of slow months. There's a lot of competition, so and I've been doing it for a long time. So sometimes I have felt like I'm not the face that everybody wants to see because I've been in it for so long. So definitely just having those choices because I know that like once I'm done with all of this, I do want to go to school and I would like to be like a juvenile counselor, kind of do like what was done for me. So it's just important to just get your diploma. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, very cool. Um, so let's talk about your future aspirations, right? Because you said that social media is not forever. It's
No, it's not.
probably not as easy and glamorous as it appears on the surface, right? Probably a lot of negotiating and haggling with getting things lined up. Um, when you're moving on to your next thing, you want to be working with youth that are struggling and having a hard time, I assume. So walk us through those future aspirations.
I feel like for me, after East Point, I knew that's what I wanted to do. After I met Mr. Lloyd, I feel like he was just such a big impact on my life. And I feel like that was something that I knew I wanted to do. So I've always told myself, like, after I'm done doing everything that I want, I want to pay back and I want to be a juvenile counselor. I want to help either young women or young men or both before they get into like that deep, ugly life, and just kind of like navigate and help them because I feel like that's what I was given. And I feel like since I lived a life similar to that, I feel like I have a story that they can probably resonate with and take with them. And I can tell them all the things that I've done in life, that I've traveled, I've lived a whole life. And it's definitely possible no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like, no matter what you have and what you don't have. It's definitely possible to make the life that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. The piece of artwork behind you says put in the work. And that's kind of one of my life mottos is show up, put in the work, right? It's in you. You're not going to be perfect at it, but that consistency of showing up, doing the work, and you'll get to where you want to go, I think proves true time and time again. And I think it's the case for you too. After going through 6 or 7 high schools, as hard as that was, you kept showing up, right? At some point, if you would have said, no, I'm done with this, I'm not going to show up anymore, your life would probably look very different
Very different.
than it does today. It would like you on a totally different trajectory.
The town that I'm from too is like I think it's like a small town mindset. Everybody either stays there for the rest of their lives and just kind of does whatever they do and work and graduate, not graduate. And I was kind of like came to terms with that. But then once like my whole mind and mindset shifted, I was like, no, it doesn't have to be like that, because I had never left Tucson. up until I was 21. And then I went to Miami. I was like, whoa. And it's completely different. I was like, whoa, there's like a whole world out there, guys. Like, I don't know if you know, but there is a whole world out there, you know? So um, for me, yeah, I think if I didn't take, like you said, put in the work, my life would have been so different. I don't know if I would have ended up like my brother. I don't know if I just would have ended up, I don't know. I honestly don't know where I would have ended up.
Yeah.
But I think always in the back of my head, I knew that I wanted to be successful and I wanted to do something big. And I was like, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was going to make sure it was going to happen.
Yeah. Determined.
Yes, very determined.
Yes.
Yeah.
So besides putting in the work, what advice would you give that young girl that was walking out of the nail salon about finishing high school and really the rest of your life? What advice would you give her?
I would probably tell her to be a little bit nicer. And people are just trying to help you, you know? That you don't know everything. But if you keep doing what you need to do and you keep guiding yourself, that everything is going to be okay and things are going to be a lot better than you think. And to just keep like everything that you're working for, your family, your friends, your future in the back of your head, and that everything's going to be okay.
It's a great message.
Mm.
Jazmine, you have a really powerful story and you have a message that maybe you're not ready yet to be the counselor that you're talking about, but pretty cool that you already have such great experience in social media. And when you're ready to start sharing all the messages that you've shared with us today, you can start there, right? Like you have a platform and you could have a huge impact on all the girls out there that are going to the same thing that you went through in middle school and high school. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing all that with us.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, since social media is such a big part of your life, if someone wants to go follow you, how do they find you?
On my Instagram and everything else is Real Bad Jazz.
Real Bad Jazz.
Okay. That's kind of doesn't correlate. And who I am now, but it's just kind of static. But for the most part, I go by Jazz, but everything is Real Bad Jazz.
Okay. Well, Jazz, it was wonderful having you here today, and we appreciate you sharing your story with us. I think that it will inspire and motivate many others that are heading down that same path you were and bouncing around high schools and way behind. And, the message I hope they receive is that there's hope. And if they just keep showing up and find the right people to get around them, they can overcome this challenge and move on to that next step in their life and find success. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course.